Hello everyone and welcome to the Animal Health Protection and Welfare community. Today is Easter and this episode is all about the delicious dangers that are surrounding your dogs during this popular holiday. We will be informing you about what is toxic and potentially dangerous to your dog this Easter holiday and what you should do if your dog eats any of them. First of all, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up and like this video as it really helps us out, and make sure that you are subscribed to our channel so that you don't miss out on future important animal related content like this. So we'll kickstart with the first and most commonly known, which is chocolate. At Easter we are surrounded by chocolate and we hide it in all kinds of places for our loved ones and children to find, but what a lot of people do not anticipate is that their dog might find it first. So chocolate contains a chemical component called theobromine, and when they eat chocolate it is the theobromine that can make your dog very poorly and even be potentially fatal. Now, regardless of how much chocolate your dog eats, it is advised that you always seek veterinary advice because the level of toxicity can vary depending on the content of the cocoa in the chocolate relative to the size of your dog. So there are really useful and free chocolate toxicity calculators available online where you can calculate whether the content and quantity of the chocolate that your dog has eaten is toxic to them relative to their size. Because basically the smaller the dog and the larger the cocoa content, the more toxic it is. So for example, and these illustrations are just for demonstration purposes only, if a small and large dog were both to eat 200 grams each of milk chocolate, even though they ate the same amount of chocolate with the same cocoa content, the smaller dog would be at a much higher risk of toxicity in comparison to the larger dog. And on the other hand, if you have two dogs of the same size and one of them ate a low cocoa content white chocolate bar and the other one a high content dark chocolate bar, then although the dogs are both the same weight and size and they both ate the same amount of chocolate, the dog that ate the high cocoa content dark chocolate bar would be at a much higher risk of chocolate poisoning in comparison to the dog that ate the white chocolate bar. Okay, so if your dog has eaten a toxic amount of chocolate within the past 4 hours, then an emergency trip to the vets will be in order to make them sick. So the vet will likely give your dog an injection to induce vomiting, and this usually starts within a few minutes of the injection being given. They might additionally give activated charcoal, which just lines your dog's stomach and prevents any excess leftover chocolate from being absorbed. So once your dog has finished bringing back up all that delicious chocolate, so long as they show no other signs of toxicity or poisoning, your vet will likely send them back home with you for further monitoring. Now, if your dog ate the chocolate longer than 4 hours ago, in addition to your vet making them sick and giving the charcoal, it might be necessary for them to also take blood tests and to put your dog on a drip, keeping them in the doggy hospital at the vets, because the toxicity could have already started to cause some serious damage to your dog's health. Now, if your dog has eaten chocolate, some of the symptoms that you need to be looking out for are diarrhea, vomiting, tremors, muscle stiffness, heart arrhythmia, meaning that your dog's heart is beating abnormally, and in the case of toxicity, this often means that it is beating too fast, which can lead to a heart attack. Your dog can start fitting, and in some cases it can even lead to death. So it can take between 4 to 24 hours for the signs of toxicity to start appearing, and sometimes by this point it can even be too late, which is why it is really important that your dog visits the vet as soon as possible if they have eaten too much chocolate. Okay, now moving on from chocolate, other delicious dangers to watch out for around Easter time are foods containing grapes or raisins, such as hot cross buns or raisin cakes, because when ingested by dogs, grapes and raisins can lead to sudden kidney failure and death as quickly as within 3 days. It isn't known exactly what causes raisins to be toxic to dogs, but I think it's safe to say that raisins might even be more dangerous than chocolate to dogs, and any amount of raisins eaten, even one by your dog, should be treated as an emergency, and you should seek veterinary advice as soon as possible. So if your dog eats grapes or raisins, some of the symptoms of grape and raisin poisoning that you need to be looking out for are vomiting, dehydration, which can be identified by a dry nose or pale gums, lack of appetite, excessive thirst, lethargy, diarrhea, and abdominal pains. Okay, and the next delicious danger that you need to be watching out for are sweeties. Many sweets contain xylitol, which is an artificial sweetener that is very harmful to dogs. So if your dog eats an excessive amount of sweets, make sure that you contact your veterinary surgeon for medical advice and keep an eye out for some of the symptoms similar to that of the other poison symptoms, including vomiting, lethargy, lack of coordination and seizures. So another danger to be cautious of this Easter is plastic. Many items are either made out of plastic, they are wrapped in plastic, the tinsel that you find at the bottom of your hamper, the little toys that come inside of the Easter eggs. So these things are all very interesting to dogs, and if they can get their paws on them, they will likely chew them or ingest them. So this can lead to anything from a small plastic toy causing cuts to the inside of your dog's mouth, or if swallowed, it could cause an obstruction needing surgery to remove it. So the long shredded paper or tinsel found at the bottom of your hamper might look completely harmless to you, but if this is ingested by your dog, it can actually end up being pulled through your dog's intestine, becoming a linear foreign body. And as the intestine keeps trying to push through the food and the contents, the long piece of string can anchor at one end, causing an intussusception in the intestine, which basically means that the intestine folds into itself like a telescope does, and this can be life-threatening and requires urgent surgery. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention that is toxic to your dog around this time of year are certain types of flowers, particularly the ones that grow from bulbs like these daffodils. So basically everything about daffodils are toxic to your dogs. From the bulb to the flower, and even the water that they sit in a vase can be toxic if drank. So be sure to seek veterinary advice if your dog eats any flowers. If you have a dog in your household this Easter, then take extra care with what foods are around. Make sure that there are no foods left on the floor or on low surfaces. And if your dog eats anything out of the ordinary, then be sure to call your vet straight away for professional advice. So if you're in doubt, then check it out and be sure to act fast, as the first 4 hours after ingestion of toxins is the most crucial, and sometimes by the time the symptoms begin to show, it can already be severe and possibly even too late. The Animal Health Protection and Welfare community wish you all a wonderful Easter and hope that everyone in your household stays safe this holiday. If you found this video useful and informative, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss out on our future tips and advice videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.